What it is. Look at that star. There it is. What it is. It's your boy, Easy, Double Easy. Well, hope everybody's doing good. I'm out here in Illinois. My delivery is about, I think it's at 7 o'clock, so I'm gonna leave out of here about 5. Be a couple hours early. It's just how I like to do it. Happy to say the weather's pretty good out here though, nonetheless. Yeah, it's a little cloudy, but the weather is good. I can rock my short sleeves today. Actually, it is short sleeves. I just got long johns on. I don't know if you guys can see that, but I do got long johns under my short sleeve shirts today. Yeah, well, so as you guys can see by the topic of the video, I figured I would do a little quick video on owner operator and authority ownership. For some reason it's a topic that never seems to get old, and you know, it's a lot of stuff that you got to know, and I find that I learn a lot of stuff every day pertaining to all of it. Sometimes in just being a driver, and I want to kind of strip it all back down to the basics on this video. So I'm going to talk about a lot of mistakes that a lot of guys make. Hopefully this will help somebody and keep some of those guys from making those same mistakes that some of them I've made, and some of them people made that I know made that I didn't make. So let's get to it. So number one, you want to own your own authority, you want to be your own operator. First thing first is research. Research, and figure out what it is that you actually want to do and how you want to operate in the particular field of trucking. Do you want to run dry van? Do you want to run reefer? Do you want to be a flatbed driver? And what does each of those levels consist of? What's required of that? You know, if you are a flatbed guy, you're going to have to get out there and tarp a lot of stuff and strap down a lot of stuff. And, you know, are you physically able to do that? The other part of it is too, is the trade-off is you get to go to a lot of construction sites and places like Lowe's and Home Depot where you don't have to back into a dock, so you don't have to do a whole lot of that. Yeah, so that's one thing about being flatbed versus dry van. Reefer, if you are running reefers, you know, it's a little bit more weight constricted on those loads, and there's seasons for reefers, just like there's seasons for flatbeds and different things like that in different areas. You know, flatbeds are usually pretty good in the West during a particular season, and reefers are usually good coast to coast during a particular season. So, you know, there's a lot of things you got to do your research on. But more importantly, the other thing is learning what's needed just to get operational. If you're going to do your own authority, this is a very important point, because a lot of guys just go out and they think they can just grab a DOT number and file for an authority and it's off to the races, and then they start figuring out that there's things that go along with that they didn't know, and by the time you look up, you done spent money that you probably could have kept. And I mean, I've seen guys spend anywhere from $700 to $2,000 to realize that they can't move forward. And what I mean by that is figure out what you need. I always recommend that you get your DOT number first because it doesn't cost you anything, and that's the number that you need to run insurance. Why is that important? Because insurance is usually what puts a lot of guys out of the race before they even get started. It almost happened to me, but I can't really say it almost really happened because I had knew what I was up against. I knew that I was going to have a high insurance premium because, one, I was in Florida, and two, being a new company, it's really hard and it's really high. So I had already anticipated a high budget, so I planned for that high budget and I was okay. But if you go through all this and, you know, let's say you buy a truck and you going straight out from you just jumping right out there, you go get a truck and you're like, all right, I'm about to get out here and get my own authority, and then you realize your insurance is going to be about $40,000 with a down payment of like $10,000 to $15,000. It's kind of like it's no turning back at that point, and it happens. As a matter of fact, I did a video on just that, and I also did an interview with Lean Trucker on the Lean Trucker channel, and we talked about that. And then I actually went into my cost of my insurance. You know, just starting out, my insurance cost is well over $2,000 a month for my insurance. Now, once I've been rolling probably another year or a couple years, I can go back and renegotiate my rate. And that'll be the case with most new carriers and new authorities. Also, that's something that you definitely want to look into before you jump out there with that. The other thing is, whether you're going to be an owner operator or if you're going to be a lease operator, wow. Lease operator or owner operator or whatever the case may be, finances. We always talk about this. Get your finances in order no matter what operation you choose to go on. Because if you're an owner operator, you're going to need to have your finances right. If you are thinking about getting your own carrier, you're going to need your finances right. And then one of the mistakes that I see a lot of guys do is they go out, they start running, they start making money, and then they're putting all the money into one account. They pay their fuel and everything during the week out of that one account, and then at the end of the week, you know, they just take some money for themselves, or they don't take money for themselves. They just use that as their own personal account, and as they need monies and they need to pay their personal bills, they pay everything out of that one account. Recipe for disaster. You have to have some kind of organization. There's no getting around it. You got to have some organization. If you are not the person to do that, then I suggest you get in somebody you can trust to handle that for you, because you need to separate things, because that's the way that you build up a nest egg. You can't build up a nest egg if you're pulling everything out of one nest egg. It just doesn't happen that way. So you got to get your finances in order and come up with a system that works for you. Break everything down. You know, you want to have an operation account, you want to have a profit account, you want to have a your personal account, which is the driver's pay account. You want to have a petty cash account. I mean, you don't have to do it the way that I'm saying it, but these are the ways that I do mine. You know, so you have a petty cash account and also a tax account for taxes, and figure out what your percentages are and what you need your percentages to be, and break those things up, and do that every week as you getting paid. Put that money where it needs to go, and you'll figure out what it is that you need to live off of on a week-to-week, month-to-month basis, and you'll tweak that along the way. Yeah, somebody was trying to call in. Sorry about that. But yeah, you want to do that. So that's one of the things that you got to really take in the heart, is having that finances right. And advice and information, take it as a grain of salt. Even what I say, don't take what I say for the gospel. Do your research on it if you need to. A lot of people getting information from people and they're like, well, such and such said this, or I talked to somebody from this company and they said that. Their experiences are going to be different. Everybody's experience is going to be different. However you choose to run, whoever you choose to run for, if rather you're going for your own authority, rather you're going for your own, just being an owner-operator and leasing on, do your own due diligence and find your own information for yourself. You know, there's just like when I was running for Landstar, a lot of people told me don't run for Landstar. A lot of people say, I met along the way, say, man, I hate Landstar, I couldn't make it. Or Landstar was this, Landstar was that. Landstar was just super mud. That wasn't my experience. My experience was, it was one of the greatest companies I've ever worked for, as an owner-operator. Vice versa, you're going to find guys that's going to love it. There's going to be guys that tell you, you know, even in the career, if you're just trying to get into trucking and you want to be a lease operator and you want to do a lease to own or a walk away lease or whatever, you're going to have people to tell you run away from that. Don't do it, you know. And you got to understand, everything's a tool and you use that to get where you need to get. I was a lease operator. I have videos on it, even on my old channel, and I think I got some on here where I talk about that. But I was a lease operator. I started out as a lease operator, but I knew I wasn't going to be in it to buy the truck. I wanted to be a lease operator so that I could learn the business, learn how to book my own freight and things like that, and understand lanes before I went to Landstar. And that's why when I got to Landstar, I was successful. I already had an edge up because I started out as a lease operator. I wasn't trying to buy that truck that I was in. I didn't care. The more importantly was I was making the money I wanted to make every week so that I could survive and be comfortable. And it was a tool, which brings me to my next topic. You come out here and you want to go owner operator and you want to go get your own authority. I see a lot of guys come out and they're like, I want to get the best truck. I'm going to get a T680 with a Cummins, or I'm going to get, you know, a W9 with this, that, and the third. Yeah, I want a $160,000 truck, $120,000 truck, or whatever the case may be. And granted, trucks are expensive right now, and especially right now. But it's a tool. I love my truck. Yes, I do. I like my truck. I got the truck that I wanted. I wanted a Cascadia. That's what I wanted. I wanted a mid-roof. I wanted a stretched frame Cascadia. I looked up and found that, and I got a Cascadia with APU on it. You know, a diesel APU. It's things that I was looking for that I wanted. And I understand the engines that are in them. I know that they're reliable, just from my experience of driving them, and I know about Detroit diesel. That's just my preference. But the more important point that I'm trying to make here is that you want to buy something that's reliable and dependable. Is that guy with the $150,000 truck making more money than me? Or am I making more money than him? Who knows, right? There's no way to know. Is the load he pulling, if we both pulling the Walmart load, is his load more valuable than my load? But I don't have a $160,000 payment. I don't have a $140,000 payment, you know, and my truck's paid off. And if it wasn't paid off, it'll be in the price range where I could pay it off, where I'm not stressing about it. You can't come out setting yourself up to fail like that. You can't. I mean, it's not about, you know, having the prettiest and the nicest truck. And I know guys that's been in the game a good little while, and that's still their mentality. And guess what? They always are complaining about rates and not being able to make enough because things are going down. They don't have that room to adjust to the inflation or the deflation of the industry, you know, because when you are here with your expenses, you don't really have room to fluctuate, because downsizing is not an option when you got a payment on a truck. You can't just be like, well, I'm getting out of the truck, unless you can find a way to quickly sell it, or sell it back to the bank and then sell it to somebody that's going to pay it off. So why set yourself up to come out like that? Buy something you can afford that is reliable. There's a lot of reliable, reasonable trucks out there. Right now, again, no. I mean, you got 2016s going for $80,000, $90,000. I've seen it with over 500,000 miles on them. So this is just for the sake of conversation. You know, you got to set yourself up and understand that that's a tool, you know, period. It's a tool. You want to be comfortable in it. If you can be comfortable and be safe and it can get the job done, all I'm thinking about every week is keeping the truck running, and that it's going to run to get me through the next week and hopefully through the next one. That's how I see it, because it's a machine, it's a tool, and I need it to work. I don't need it to be pretty, you know. That's just my thoughts on it. And you have to think about that, and you have to think like that when you are successful or trying to be successful in this industry. Don't get caught up in the glitz of the vehicles, because if you do, you're already setting yourself up for failure there. We're running at 16 minutes. I'm just trying to touch what I can. I might have to make a part 2 to this, but take advice again as a grain of salt. You got to understand, even from my guys that are going to be company drivers, you know, these companies are not in it to help you. They're not in it for you to be prosperous. They're in it for them to be prosperous. Same with owner operators. Same with when you have your own authority. You know, you got all these companies, factoring companies, brokers. They're trying to sell you everything they can sell you to make you think that you're getting the best deal by pulling their freight or by going with them for their services. They're not in it for you. So search, research, and research again, and research your research. Period. You know, they're not in it for you. You are the only one that's going to have your back when it comes to being out here, and your family. And I mean your immediate family, the people that you in the household with. I ain't even going to touch that topic, but those are the people that are going to have your back, because they are dependent on you. When people are not dependent on you, you're just a possible asset. So don't think that these companies, and always suspect everything and everyone when you come to dealing with business. You know, I had a company that called me, you know, for some work, and I booked the freight, and then they had me waiting all day on a Friday to send me this information for the load to pick up, because the load picks up on Saturday. And I called the guy like, hey man, what's going on? You know, I need to know what's going on, because when I drop this load, I need to be able to go and get this next load, because the load I was dropping delivers at 7 p.m. Now by that time, I already knew 5 o'clock or so, everybody's gonna be closed, and if I don't have this information, guess what? I'm screwed out of my load for Saturday, and I'm sitting all over the weekend 1,000 miles away from home. So this agent got mad with me because I called him and he said, well, I can't, you know, give you the information until I gotta, you know, reach out to this person and that person, and then I gotta do a checklist call to make sure everything is good with you. Why are we doing a checklist call after I already got a Raycon and signed Raycon from you? We should have been doing that from the beginning. Also, you should already have that information for me. I said, so if you can't get me that information ASAP, then I'll just go ahead and cancel the load while I still got time to cancel the load and find me another load. Again, had I not looked into it, they wouldn't have told me, because they don't care, because they got so many other trucks and brokers out there that they can reach out to. What's one guy sitting across the country that they forget about. They're not in your best interest, man. It's not. You will make relationships. You will have good agents and good brokers and carriers and companies that you'll deal with that will genuinely be on point. I'm not saying this is everybody, but you always gotta suspect and be ready for the unexpected, because sometimes we don't get second opportunities to recover when we're out here. And especially if you lose a load on a Friday, and then that's like you go somewhere to pick up a load, you get there at 5 o'clock, and it's a 5 o'clock appointment, and then they tell you, oh, somebody already picked this load up, but the agent didn't call you. Guess what? Now you're sitting for the whole weekend trying to find a load to get out of there for next week, which I ain't gotta tell you how much that hurts your pocket. So now we at 20 minutes, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and end this video. I hope that little bit of information helps somebody. And as always, stay safe. We'll make a part 2, and you guys keep it real. I'm always gonna do my best to do the same. Peace out.